Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Noakes from the Department of Kinesiology and Health Sciences, and I have the privilege of talking about ChatGPT with you today. So let's dive in. So I think a lot of questions relating to ChatGPT is what is it? What is artificial intelligence? And the best way to describe ChatGPT is it is a form of generative AI, or more specifically, a large language model. What that means is that it's able to generate responses based on a user input, simulating or mimicking a human language or how humans would speak in conversation. Now, it's important to note that responses are not preset or predetermined. It doesn't follow a flowchart like previous types of AI would do. ChatGPT is able to do is it's able to generate custom responses based on the specific prompt or the specific text that the user is inputting. So it is very tailored to not only the user, but the type of information you are putting into ChatGPT. So what can ChatGPT or generative AI create? ChatGPT is really unique in that it can generate four things as of right now. It can generate text, it can generate audio, it can generate images, and it can generate code. So it has a lot of use cases for higher education, particularly not only for students, but also for educators, just based off of the wide variety of things or resources that it can create. So you may be wondering at this point, how does this all work? Well, basically, ChatGPT is trained on very large data sets. These data sets can be text, these data sets can be articles, these data sets could be transcriptions, maybe from audio, conversations, interviews. It could also be transcripts from music lyrics, right? Novels. It can even be YouTube videos, right? And it's basically trained on all of this information. Now, of course, this begs the question about copyright, right? What is a free resource and what is not free resource? And that's where a lot of the controversy of ChatGPT lies. Now we're not going to dive into that today, but I do think it is something important to recognize that right now there is no filter or there is no protections on what ChatGPT is currently being trained on. But because it has all of this information and it has all of this data that is trained on, it's able to provide answers or responses to a lot of information and a lot of use cases for the user to ask it a wide variety of things, from anything related to cooking, anything related to engineering, to biology, to healthcare or whatnot, because it has this huge resource of information that it's able to pull on. And now you also may be asking, well, how up to date is ChatGPT? How often does it get updated information? And I think that is one of the most important things to talk about when looking at using ChatGPT as a resource. As of right now, if you use the paid version of ChatGPT, it is up to date as close to October of 2023 as possible, meaning that it does not know anything past October of 2023. Now, the free version, on the other hand, is only trained up to October of 2021. And so that's a really important thing to recognize, that inherently ChatGPT is going to be outdated to a certain degree. So as users, right, as educators, it's important for us to know that because it's a limitation. But more importantly, it's important for the students to be made aware of that, especially too if they're going to be using ChatGPT or any other form of generative AI or large language model as a resource for knowledge, or as a resource in class, or potentially as a resource to help with assignments that, of course, is going to be up to the discretion of the instructor. Now, with that, I think it's also important to note that because it is inherently outdated, ChatGPT is prone to make mistakes. It is not always going to provide the correct information. And in fact, you can prompt ChatGPT to even what we call hallucinate, which means that it is going to falsify information just to fulfill the request or the prompt of the user. And that is another inherent limitation of large language models, is the fact that it is not perfect. And so it's always important to comb over, to review, to fact check, if you will, ChatGPT and the information it's providing, because it's not always correct, but it's also not always the most up to date. So now let's go through the different types or the different levels of ChatGPT. I think this is another common misconception of ChatGPT. Not all of ChatGPT is created equal. There is what we call the free version, right, of ChatGPT, which is technically ChatGPT 3.5. That is the model that is available to the public, that you don't have to pay for, that a lot of times students are using. Then you have the paid version of ChatGPT, which is going to be, as of the date that this is being recorded, ChatGPT 4. 4.0, right? And in the future, it will continue to get updated with the latest model. And then there is the option for what we call custom GPTs. They are tailored GPTs that users create that allow it to maybe operate from a specific lens, operate from a specific area of expertise, or draw from a very specific knowledge base or data set. So let's dive into ChatGPT 3.5, or what we commonly refer to as the free version of ChatGPT. This is, again, the one that is probably going to be most commonly used by educators and also by students because it is free, right? And so think about ChatGPT 3.5 as a very generalizable sort of model, if you will. It can handle very basic or generic tasks. It's not going to be able to handle very complex tasks. Now, to be honest, most of the tasks that students are throwing at it are going to be generalizable in nature. Complex tasks means high advanced level coding, data set interpretation, data set generation, maybe long responses or prompts or interactions with ChatGPT. The more complex the interaction gets or the conversation means that basic ChatGPT is not going to be able to handle it. Another limitation, or one thing to note about the free version of ChatGPT, is that it is going to be limited in peak times, meaning that when a lot of people are using it, it's not going to be available, right? Or that you may be limited in the amount of characters or responses or prompts that you put into it because it is free. And then last but not least, I think the most important thing to note about the free version of ChatGPT is that it was last trained in October of 2021, which means that, again, as of today that this video is being filmed, it is 3 years out of date. Now, I would imagine that eventually the free version is going to be updated, but at this point in time, we do have to recognize that that is a limitation with the free version of ChatGPT. Now let's dive into the paid version. So the paid version, again, as of today that this video is being recorded, is currently $20 a month. Now this gives you access to all of the most up-to-date ChatGPT features, which includes the most up-to-date model. The most up-to-date model, ChatGPT 4.0, is going to be trained as up to October of 2023, which I think is really important to note. So it's going to be a lot more up to date. One of the biggest benefits of the paid version of ChatGPT 4.0 is the fact that you are able to customize. Now, this is going to be a huge resource for users to be able to create custom instructions for ChatGPT to follow. That way you are not starting from scratch each and every time. Additionally, it is going to give you priority access, which means it's not going to be limited, right, during certain times of the day or during high usage. It means that you are going to be able to have longer conversations. It means you're going to be able to give it more complex tasks, more complex data sets. So if you're looking to code, right, the paid version may be the way to go. And then last but not least, it's going to give you access to custom GPTs, but also to create your own custom GPTs or chatbots, if you will. So the last thing I want to touch on is how can ChatGPT be used in higher education? We have given you a sort of 30,000-foot overview of what ChatGPT is and how it works. But let's go a little bit more specific to higher ed. The first thing I want to touch on is the harsh reality is that our students are using ChatGPT actively. Now, we don't know if they're using it for their assignments or not, but they are using it for a wide variety of things. So us as educators, right, we need to be well versed in ChatGPT, or at least versed enough in order to have a conversation about it, in order to have a dialogue with our students about not only the use cases, but the limitations, and hopefully be able to think about how we can use this form of generative AI in not only our pedagogy, but also in our daily lives or in our daily practices. So let's think about how ChatGPT can be used from a pedagogy perspective or from a teaching and learning perspective. ChatGPT can do a wide variety of things. It can help with assignment creation. It can help maybe with assignment grading. It can help with creating assignment descriptions. Now, when I say assignment grading, I don't mean put the assignment into ChatGPT and give it a grade, although it can do that. You don't want to do that, but maybe you are looking at how students are submitting assignments and it's not really meeting your objectives. You can ask ChatGPT to kind of compare the two. Where are the gaps? Where are the limitations? Where can maybe I change my description of my assignment or in the instructions of the assignment to help meet my goals, right? And so it can do that. If you are looking at creating new assignments and you feel stumped, you can ask ChatGPT to create new and creative ways to do assignments using a variety of pedagogical techniques, right? Or teaching and learning theories and techniques. It can help create rubrics to your assignments. It can help revise rubrics to your assignments, which I think is really, really important, right? How are your rubrics objective? How are your rubrics measurable? Are they meeting or are they assessing the outcomes that you initially have? That's all really important information to go. It can help create notes. It can help create outlines. So if you have lectures, right, or if you're looking at a text and you want to create notes or outlines, or a more condensed study guide of your lectures, it can do that. It can even create reading guides. And so you can upload text or a resource and say, create a reading guide or create critical thinking questions that the students can answer based off of that. Create an outline or a summary of the reading or text that I can implement into my lecture. So there is a wide variety of use cases within higher education or within teaching that we can utilize ChatGPT as a resource. So through this, I hope that you see the versatility and the applicability of ChatGPT, and to recognize that ChatGPT is not our enemy. Rather, it is a tool that we can use not only to help us with our efficiencies, not only in our administrative tasks, not only in our scholarship tasks, and how it can help us become better educators for our students who are actively looking to use this type of technology in their own learning of the material. Thank you all for listening. I hope that you got a good understanding of what ChatGPT is, and most importantly, how this tool can be used in your own professional practice. Take care and have a good rest of the day.